Now, we're going to go over some of the information that was in the letter that was sent to the city of Albertville, and he says, I am the only duly authorized administrator for the all caps name, because in order to have parity between a corporation and a living soul, they'll recognize you as an all caps name, and when you come forward and identify yourself as the all caps name, then you are on equal footing with the corporation. Here he's saying, I'm the administrator for this all corporation name that you have put in the documents, and I'm here to satisfy any agreement or any kind of legal requirements made of this legal corporation. But I'm the living soul, and you're not going to violate my rights, and I'm here to ensure that you don't violate the rights of my legal entity. And he says, I am authorized to settle all matters, public and private, for this all caps name in an effort to ascertain the facts purported controversy between myself and the city of Albertville. Please respond to the following regarding this case number. Under what local ordinance am I being accused? That's the very first leg of the table. Who is the individual that is making the accusations against me? That would be a living soul. Let me go back now. Please provide me with a certified copy of his signed affidavit and contact information. This was the very first letter that was sent. Next, because I am not fully learned in these matters, who do I contact to subpoena this individual? Next he says, who is the witness that affirms the accusation of the accuser? Can't be the code enforcement officer. What damages has the accuser suffered by my actions? That should have been already submitted to the judge in order to get the judge to move against me. Of course, that didn't happen. Is the purported violation of a criminal or administrative nature? Of course, they're never going to answer that. That's going to be something that you're never going to get an answer on. Now, this has got to be a living soul. It can't be the lawyer for the city. He has no first-hand knowledge. In any of these cases, the lawyer cannot testify because he is a spokesperson and has no first-hand knowledge of anything that occurred. Okay, next, this individual wanted to have pauperous forms because he wanted the city to pay for this because they moved against him. He thought that this was something that shouldn't come out of his pocket. He says, I look forward to your signed, written response in a reasonable amount of time, in this case, so that he could resolve or respond properly before his trial date, which was set at October the 4th. Now, if you ask a question of your elected official, don't ask it orally. An important question I'm talking about. If you have an important question, you put it in writing. You identify who you are. That's the very first thing. And then you ask your question, and then you put at the bottom of it, I look forward to your signed written response within a reasonable amount of time. Because if you get an answer from him on an important question orally, what's it worth? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So this is something to put into your quiver, because everybody here I consider to be an activist, and believe me, we're going to need all the arrows in our quiver before it's over with dealing with this situation. Now, he goes on and says, this is the response. This is what the lawyer for the city of Albertville sent back to him. He says, you are charged with violating a couple of ordinances. The complaint was signed by Officer Richard Adams. And then he says, the city declines to furnish any other information. So automatically he shot himself in the foot. But he doesn't know that this individual is knowledgeable enough to know that he's only got a couple of the legs to the table here, and he's left off the other two. So here now is what occurred after that. Silence can only be equated with fraud where there is a legal or moral duty to speak, or where an inquiry left unanswered would be intentionally misleading. Now these are some of the, this was actually included in the letter. So we're saying to the city, if you remain silent, brother, you're misleading me, and there's some fraud that's going on here. Now what is the definition of fraud? An intentional perversion of the truth for the purpose of inducing another in reliance upon it with some valuable thing belonging to him to surrender a legal right. In other words, We're wanting you to give up something that's of value or a legal right. And that legal right, remember, in the affidavit says that you're waiving an appeal. So can you see now, by not understanding this, you're agreeing, I'm not going to appeal this, and you go to the appeals court, guess what? He's going to rule against you. Just like the administrative court's going to rule against you. Okay, this now is the response from the, or one of the things that was sent to him. And he says, before me the undersigned authority personally appeared on the undersigned date, and he made the complaint. And there was supposed to be a signature on this document that was sent to him. There was no signature. So all of this is bogus information that the city's just putting out there, trying to bluff this guy into agreeing to coming in and paying the fine. All right, now of course, again, there was no undersigned authority. And this is actually the charge that was made against him. Growth favoring insect harborage within the municipality of the city of Albertville or the police jurisdiction thereof. That was the actual charge. I just say he was charged with harboring insect. But this is the actual, this is what was stated on the document that he was sent. Now, a second notarized letter was sent to the court and the city attorney and placed on public record. So he's notifying everybody. He's not just notifying the lawyer, because the lawyer could contend, well, I didn't receive it. Although he does send it in. You can either send it in proof of delivery through the mail system, or you can go in and get a signed copy from the clerk. It makes no difference. But that's one thing you definitely want to do. But in this case, he sent it to the attorney and the mayor and the city council and, boy, you name it. All right, now, he acknowledged that the city of Albertville is at default because they haven't come forward with the needed information. There's no valid accusatory instrument, no opposing party who can show damages, no witness, therefore no controversy, therefore there is no subject matter, and the table has no legs. Now that's what this guy wrote. Of course he didn't put that at the bottom, but that's what he, at the top, that's what he put in the letter to the guy. Now, the letter included the maximum of law. A workman is worthy of his hire. It is against equity for free men not to have free disposal of their own property, and he included time as money. Then he ended this letter and he said, therefore, I submit the following invoice in the amount of, for my appearance on a date to address unfounded, unconstitutional, fallacious, and frivolous charges. He says, I will accept Federal Reserve notes in the amount of, but would prefer United States gold or silver. So that's what he said to him. Now,
How
of course,
much did he ask for?
I can't remember. I think it was around $400 or $500 is what he asked for. But at this point now, this has already been dismissed, and he's working on a due process lawsuit against the city. But just having the knowledge of what to do in this case is worth an untold amount of money.